I can hear just how the emotional toll that this took on you, and I do want to talk about the stories of these families in a moment. But first, something that struck me is you said you were the ultimate naysayer. You've been involved in politics for a long time now. Why do you think this story, this moment, you were proven wrong? What do you think about this story? United people from both sides of the aisle.
First off, everyone who was involved in the planning was dedicated to one thing: giving voice to the hostage families. So there was no disputes, there was no who goes first, who goes second. Everything was to make sure that the families got heard and to make sure that the politicians and the elected officials understood that these were real human beings with real suffering that were sitting there in front of them and around them. Because what happened as the event went on, and we never planned for this. I'm going to repeat this because I'm going to cough.
Mm.
And this has been going on, by the way. I've been coughing for the last 96 hours because of the level of stress and strain that I heard, not for me, but for them. There was greater coordination between Chabad and the Jewish community in the States and the Jewish community from Israel, but it was open to everyone. So many people who were participating weren't necessarily from Israel. The room was packed. We were surrounded by individuals who just wanted the face of their loved ones to be seen, and they wanted their voice to be heard. And that was our sole mission in all of this, to ensure that that happened. So as the event began, and by the way, the hostage family showed up over 2 hours late. The plane was an hour and a half late. The buses took forever. There was initially no protection for them, no escort. But just as everything seemed to work out and God seemed to shine on them, one of our participants knew the governor of Virginia and called and said, "This is a genuine threat. They need police to help them." And that's exactly what they got. When we got to the room, we couldn't get the hostage families into the room itself because the lines to get into the Capitol were just so long. But the senators and congressmen agreed to wait patiently and understandingly as the room was filled. And as the speeches went on and the conversations, and as we heard each person's story, more and more individuals came up to the front and surrounded all of us. So to my left and to my right, there was a sister of a hostage. There was the child of a hostage. There were mothers and fathers and grandparents who were there. There was a woman 12 years old who desperately wanted her brother returned. And it just all seemed to work. And at that moment, which I wish we could capture for the rest of my life, for the rest of Washington, D.C., on that moment, Democrats and Republicans stood next to each other, gave testimony next to each other, embraced each other next to each other. I don't know if you have the video, but we had Democrat and Republican walking up to the microphone and sharing it, and nobody pushing, and nobody wanted to be a star. They wanted the attention to be reflected on the reason why we were there, was
It
to
was
give voice to the hostage families.